And welcome to Tokaku Games match preview of Brentford against West Ham United. Gonzo, as always, kick us off with your thoughts on the Bees, please.
Yeah, I think the biggest compliment I can give them is not at any point this season did I think they would get relegated or even in contention. I didn't even factor them in when I'm looking and thinking who are the relegation sides. That is a big compliment because that's happened pretty damn quickly, that they've been promoted and now you don't consider them to be ones. They're such a really well-run club and they've done remarkably well with that. I felt they were a little bit harshly done by with Ericsson, actually. Thought they were the one club who no one wanted to touch them with a barge pole for obvious reasons. And you know why. You know, no one can't say it, but everyone was worried that he'd drop down dead on a football pitch and have another heart attack. So no one wanted to touch him. And the one club that did think, okay, we'll give him a chance was Brentford. And I thought that deserved a little bit of loyalty, actually. So, I thought they were a bit disadvantaged at that because I felt when we played them last season, very, very good. And I thought he brought another dynamic to him, actually. And, so I thought that was a bit hard done by there. James Toney thing's interesting. Geo was chatting about it with my old man. Don't know why that's gone the way it has. I mean, I would imagine it's quite clear cut, really. It's illegal to bet on Premier League games. But I guess there's two forms of punishment. There'd be one form of punishment, which is if he's bet on Brentford to win every Premier League game, you can say, okay, naughty boy, you shouldn't really be doing that. But clearly, you've not tried to manufacture the outcome because you're just betting with confidence in yourself. If it transpires that he might have betted that either Brentford have lost or drawn a game, then he's in big trouble, and rightly so. So, they've been really safe this season, and good on them.
I think with the Tony thing, obviously we can't go into too much just because we don't know. There's no information out there. But I think if it was the latter of your scenarios, I don't think Brentford would play him. I do think Brentford would say, because Brentford will be in full knowledge of what the case is looking like at the minute. I get why they're playing him. Until he's banned, I'd play him as well because they need points. They need to, at the time, they need to stay in the Premier League. So they had to keep playing him. But I do think now that they're safe, if it was bad for the club, I think I'd like to think they'd say, right, that's it. Now you're banished to the under 21s. We've used you, we've rinsed you. Now you can do one. The fact he's still playing every week makes me think that he's not really been betting on
good point.
Brentford, and it's possibly not even the Premier League. Might be betting on League Two stuff or something. We won't know until we find out. As for Brentford, I'm pleased. I am pleased they are doing well, and it's not necessarily because I have an affiliation to Brentford. Well, it's definitely not. I have no affiliation. I've not got no desire to see Brentford do well. It doesn't bother me if they stay up or if they go down in the sense of them as a football club. But the reason I'm pleased that it's working is because of the infrastructure of the club. Brentford need to work in order for clubs like West Ham to go, oh, let's adopt that model. Let's start doing what they're doing in terms of transfers, in terms of player recruitment. If Brentford came up and went straight back down, a certain person at West Ham will go, it doesn't work. Data doesn't work. Numbers, not doing it. Blah, blah, blah. It does not work. We'll stick with our trusted agents. Thank you very much. So I'm glad that the Brentford way is working. I'm glad the Brighton way is working because clubs like West Ham can't afford to ignore it for too much longer. It justifies what they're doing. Brentford can only justify their methods by remaining in the Premier League, and they're doing it, and it's impressive. Low budget, low net spend, going out there, finding players, bringing them in that perhaps we've never heard of. They're doing well. I don't think it's quite as grand as what Brighton are doing. Brighton are bringing in players for 5 million, turning them into 70 million and selling them. Brentford aren't quite doing that. They're more Moneyball. I think Brighton's more finding gems, unearthing these
hedge fund ball.
Yeah, that's it. Hedge funding. They're finding hidden gems elsewhere and bringing them in and turning them into sort of Premier League superstars and selling them. Whereas Brentford is a bit more about getting in the players that just fit the job that they're looking for, and that is that. And that's why I feel more confident in Brighton retaining the players going forward. There will always be interest in one or two, but when you look at some of the players that do work at Brentford, I don't think you can say confidently that they would work elsewhere in the Premier League. Look at Brighton at Casado and go, yeah, he would work at Man United. Sure. But if you look at the way Brentford are going, you look at Jensen, do you look at him and think, yeah, he'll do at Liverpool? I'm not sure you do, actually. He just works at Brentford. It's a bit like the Zaha Crystal Palace thing. It's just happening with a lot of players at that club. So that's why I feel quite comfortable that they'll be okay retaining the majority of their players beyond the summer. A good season for them, though. It looks like they're going to finish in the top 10. They're likely to finish in the top 10. Held on to Thomas Frank as well, despite a lot of interest from elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, they've done well, and I totally agree with what you say. I think it is a real success story, and their model and the timing of how they did it, and their promotions of the Premier League and the building of the stadium, it's incredibly insightful. It's very, very good, and they, yes, I mean, you're absolutely right. They've not made the big bucks that maybe Brighton were able to do. But still, just the way they've been doing it continually. I mean, it could be argued Ollie Watkins may never have been sold if they'd have got promoted a little bit earlier. Maybe he would be there doing what Tony's doing now. They might not ever have bought Toney from Peterborough, possibly. But Thomas Frank. Yeah, I mean, he's the right manager at the right job. I certainly wasn't thrilled when we were linked with him, I have to say. But I think for them, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just to clarify what Gonzo's saying, because it's for fan watching, he means Thomas Frank's a really good manager in that system, in that infrastructure.
Yeah.
Take him out and put him in at West Ham, he wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, I said the same. I say the same about Brighton. Yeah.
Thomas, who would you like to sign? Go, I don't know, mate. Where's your recruitment team? So we don't have one. You are the recruitment team, Thomas. Yeah. Have you got an agent? Have you got a particular agent you work with? No. Oh, okay. Have you got anything, Thomas? Not really. I'm just doing my thing on the training ground. That's how
we just need Tony Pulis in at West Ham.
Yeah, I was reading a thing about Thomas Frank. It must have been about a month ago now, and it was just about, I guess, it was just bigging up him as a coach and how good he is and stuff. And it was quite interesting reading it about how he's measured in terms of being successful at Brentford. I think I was telling you about it the other day on the Patreon video, where at the start of the season, when he gets his expectations for the season, gets his targets as a manager, whereas at West Ham, David Sullivan might turn around to David Moyes at the start of this season and say, right, you've got to win the Conference League and finish in the top 10, please. Thank you very much. Thomas Franks isn't that. It's, can we have this amount of goals from set pieces? Can we do this? Can we do that? And he almost has like these footballing KPIs. And I guess the belief is if he hits all those targets, the league position will look after itself. And it's just such a clever way of going about it. And then when you look at their set pieces, second highest goal scorers for set pieces in the Premier League, scored the most goals from throw-ins in the Premier League this season. And it's just all those little things that he has to be responsible for. It adds up to winning games, which adds up to points.
Didn't know that at all.
No, either did I until I read this article. I was fascinated by it. Because we know they're very data-driven, but you just assume it's more to do with buying players than anything. But it's actually, that's how they also measure the success rate of the manager as well. And
so it's happening. Do you reckon a cleaner as each bit of the carpet that's been hoovered, they say to him, whoever, all of them.
She's only got 3 mop heads per month.
I'll Trigger's broom. Yeah, and it's all measured, all the scrubbing. Honestly, everything in that club is each chip in the canteen. Probably don't eat chips. In fact, the fitness they run around, they probably don't eat chips at all. I bet Ivan Toney doesn't eat chips. How does he?
Right, Brentford, where can they go from here, Gonzo? Because my one reservation is, it feels like there's a ceiling on how far Brentford can go unless they spend money. And while their recruitment works as it is, with what is quite low fees for the Premier League, I think if you start spending 50 million on a player, I think it becomes harder to go and find that person that fits what you want to do, because there's less options, for example. And there's also they'd be competing with clubs with more financial pool, like West Ham. They'd be competing with us for wages, which I don't think they can do. So I don't want to say this is as good as it gets for Brentford, which is top 10 in the Premier League, but I think it is.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, I will. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right about the that you start buying players 50 million, you're going to have to pay them the wages. That's the thing. It's not like picking someone up from the French second division and they're going to think, oh, you're lovely, 15 grand a week. Yeah, that'll do me. That's lovely. That, which is still a life-changing amount, but it's not yachts and Ferraris and all the rest of it, which is what you're going to want if you're a £50 million player. The agent's going to say, hold on, my guy's a £50 million player, and he doesn't have to sign for you. That's the other thing. That might be the offer to go to Brentford might be the best one that they can get, a £50 million player and go to any number of clubs. I think the very top level of the ceiling would be 2 or 3 clubs not having a great season, them getting into the Conference League like we got into.
But the thing is, though, there's already that's happening this season, though, isn't there? Like us, Chelsea are below them in the Premier League as well.
They are, but everything, almost all the planets have to align, don't they? So you've got to be doing without an Aston Villa and Newcastle getting taken over. And I mean, Tottenham, as crap as they've been this season, look at where they are, because they're a big club, and irrespective of them, maybe Daniel Levy choosing his managers poorly, they still have such a quality of player that they're still going to be up there or thereabouts. So I do think it's not hard for them. It's a wonderful, privileged, lovely position for them to be in. What they would actually have to do is they must be turning the profit. So it's a case, can they turn that profits into players? The thing is, it's so hard. If you get 200 million a season, let's say, round figure, not a million miles out, right? Let's say you get 200 million. Are you going to make a profit in trade on there? Even if they make £30 million profit, right, in a season, which is a hard thing to do in the Premier League, still buying, spending that £30 million profit, we're going to go and spend it on a player. Well, that's not going to get you too far. Maybe that player you were going to buy for 30, you buy a £60 million player, but you're absolutely right. The moment you do that, then all of a sudden you're going to be paying 125 grand a week. And as I've said, even someone like Areola at West Ham, who wasn't have a massive transfer fee, he was only about £11 million. The liability over his 5-year contract is over £40 million. And that's what happens when you start paying the big wages. Yeah, I think they are as far as they can go unless an investor comes in.
Yeah, and possibly win a cup, and hopefully they do. I like seeing clubs like that win trophies. Players you admire?
I like Jorgensen, the centre-back. We discussed him before. Don't they call him something else?
Zanka.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I like him. I think he's a really good player. Obviously, I like Toney. I do. I like the way he interviews as well. I think it's.
I've been hugely impressed by Toney this season. I think he's better than last year. I think he's.
Yeah.
Bar Haaland and Kane, I think he's possibly the best striker. You can argue about Watkins and Isak and Toney as to which one's the better one out of the three, but he's been incredible. The power, the pace, everything about him. He's a perfect striker.
He's really, really good. And, I hope Sullivan wasn't tutting too hard when David Moyes revealed that he'd turned down the offer to sign Julian Alvarez for 12 million, because it's all right, we've got Mickey Antonio there. Because actually, I think Sullivan was offered Toney for 3 million by Barry Fry or something like that. So, it doesn't look too clever now, does it? Certainly. There's someone else on the... I like the other one, Mbeumo. Is that his name? Yeah. He's a good one. They're probably the team I've watched least in the Premier League this season. No, I have to say, Geo. I haven't seen much of them at all.
Jensen, for me, I think he's come on leaps and bounds this season. I was so surprised when the other 14 on Twitter, I follow them, good account, and every week they update their charts. They've got charts for everything. And they've got like goal contributions, goals and assists combined. West Ham don't have a player in the top 20 from the other 14. But Jensen was in it, just sat there. Hang on a minute, like, where's he come from? I don't know, maybe 6 goals and 8 assists or something. I don't know what his stats are. I thought that's really impressive, actually. Sure. I thought that what a quiet. He's just gone under the radar completely. I thought, where's this guy popped up from? I think Norgaard's a really good defensive midfielder from them as well. Obviously, I love Aaron Hickey. Don't think we've seen the best of him. Don't think Brentford's seen the best of him yet. Had some injuries as well. Raya, it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I think Brentford are possibly fortunate that Man United have a limited budget as well. Looks like they're way to renew De Gea's contract, because I think if they didn't, I think that's where they'd be going to get their new number one. So I think Brentford might just hang on to their keeper because of De Gea getting a new deal. Lots of good players, lots of talented players. Wissa as well. I mean, every time we play Brentford, he seems to do well.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Annoyingly.
Pacey, fast, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a decent little player.
Yes. Yeah, he causes all manner of... Was it Cresswell? Get Cresswell in a bit of trouble, did he? If I remember.
Possibly, I don't know.
Have you got Cresswell sent off or something? But I think he might have done. This maybe
who doesn't get Cresswell sent off these days?
That's true. It's no boast. Did they sign the boy that we were after from Hull?
Potter. Yeah, Lewis Potter.
Did he? Does he?
I've
Is
not
he good?
seen anything of him. I've not seen anything of him at all. Like, literally, I've not seen him play for Brentford. Might have come off the bench a couple of times.
Sure.
But to be fair, Damsgaard's the one I was looking forward to seeing this season. And again, I've barely seen him. Just
Well, they're doing all right. They're definitely doing something right.
I mean, that's just it. When they're sitting in the top half, they can pick and choose who they play and whatever. But anyway, enough about Brentford. Time to talk about West Ham and Gonzo. This has got to be the weekend he rotates, surely.
Yeah, and stop calling me Shirley, as the old joke goes. They were, Declan Rice, Mikel Antonio, Jared Bowen were tired. There's no doubt about that in that game. There was points where Declan Rice was walking around. I'm talking about the AZ Alkmaar game, just in case anybody is tuning in, a Brentford fan. He's got to have to rest Zuma as well. In fact, I'd be resting a lot of players for this one, Geo. There was definitely did not have really high energy levels. Look at us in the second leg against Ghent. Look at us how we played against Arsenal. Look at those energy levels. We didn't have them.
Also, Man United, when those three players were sick midweek, the energy of Rice, Souček, and Aguerd against Man United, they missed the game at the Etihad.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And you could even see it. And there was a frustration in the crowd. Like, come on, press them. We were sort of stood there and purposely not pressing, actually, which was quite annoying. So yeah, we have to prioritise Europe here. We absolutely must. I'll be really annoyed actually if I see anything resembling a full strength side. I understand he might do 3 or 4, but I really would ring the changes.
Yeah, we'll discuss that in a second because I'm concerned about that. But the team news for West Ham is quite simple, really. There's only Scamacca and Soufal missing for West Ham. Apart from that, Moyes has got a lot of players to choose from. They did put up training ground footage earlier from the first team players that did not feature last night. So Fabianski, obviously, Emerson, Kearney, Ben Johnson, but perhaps more interestingly was Armstrong Okoflex. So he was involved in the training alongside those unused last night. Well, the substitutes, because Danny Ings was in the footage earlier as well. So Okoflex is perhaps in line for making the squad, at least on Sunday. Mubam and Potts were also in said footage. We're going to discuss what me and Gonzo want to see, not what we think David Moyes is going to do. This is the team that we would like to see on Sunday. But before we do, just want to point you in the direction of our Julian Dix merchandise. Myself and Gonzo have got a private signing session with Julian Dix coming up where we will be taking a box of merchandise with us, plonking it down.
And my zebra pen. I'm going to take my zebra pen.
No zebra pen. We'll be using a nice Sharpie. Thank you very much. Durability. So we'll be getting Julian to sign everything that gets pre-ordered. So if you go to the hammerchatstore.com/Julian Dix, links in description, you can get yourself a book. The Julian Dix's new book is out on the 8th of June. You can get yourself some shirts and some prints, which we will get Julian to sign. Go have a look. And there's also some other merch in there that he won't be signing, but it's Julian Dix related, such as the coaster, which is behind me somewhere. But yeah, if you do grab anything, you support Hammers Chat and you support Julian Dix. And if you get a print, you support Canning Town Line as well. So you'll be supporting 3 different West Ham sources. But also, if you're a patron, your discount is applicable. So if you're an addict, you save 30% on everything, which means you save 45 quid on a signed Julian Dix shirt. It's £45 saving. Links in the description below. Gonzo, talk to me about your team. Areola in goal?
No, Fabianski in goal.
Areola for me.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because he's going to play him in the second leg, right? I've accepted. I don't agree with it.
Do you think he will?
I think he will. I think he'll play Aviola in the second leg. Okay. I would prefer to see Fabianski, but I think he's going to play Aviola. If he's going to do that, play Aviola Sunday. I will give him the benefit of the doubt that perhaps he conceded that goal because of lack of match sharpness. We apply it to outfielders willy-nilly, so Kearney misses a 1-1. That's because he's not played enough game time. Vanals comes on, he's not had enough game time. We don't really do it with goalkeepers. I think and that's being generous. He should have definitely saved that bloody thing. But if we are going to play him in the second leg, play him on Sunday and let's get him some game time because his goal is going to get peppered against Brentford because of the 10 in front of him that we're going to go discuss, I think. Your defence?
Well, that's why I picked Fabianski for the same reasons as you. I just, that's what I think.
What's your leaky defence on Sunday?
What did you say? What's my leaky defence?
What leaky defence would you like to see?
Thanks for asking. Johnson, Kehrer. So I'm reading my pad. Jota, sorry. Johnson, Kehrer, Ogbonna, Emerson.
I disagree with one, and that's Kerr. I don't think we can play him. He's too important. We need him. What do we do if he gets injured? What are we doing against Alkmaar? We've got to play Johnson then. I don't think we can do it. I think Kerr has to come out the firing line.
Right, putting Casey in there.
Yeah,
I did think of it. Yeah, I've got too many youngsters in.
So I think I've only got one more, so we'll see who you've got. But I would put Casey in there, reward for his season with under 18s and under 21s. But I agree with the other three, Johnson, Ogbonna, and Emerson, sort of pick themselves. If Ogbonna's not fit, what would you do then?
I would draft Casey in, exactly that player. Yeah, who has been really impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's just got to be.
I completely agree, mate. We've got to rotate the whole 11 as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but I just think Kerr's too important now.
No, I totally get what you're saying. I just think
if Sifal fit, sure, but he's not.
Yeah. I've just played so few games that I didn't mind so much. Yeah, but anyway, it's fine.
Midfield
is Kadua. I'm playing 4-4-2. Kadua, Downs, Lanzini, and Cornet. Nice and fast on the wings, and fast and direct on the wings. Little tackler in the middle, little sneaky, cheeky, twisty, turny player in the middle. Why not? Absolutely why not? And it's just so important that we rest Declan Rice. Declan Rice must be rested, absolutely, and so obviously so must Paqueta, and he's going to play Souček anyway, so he needs to rest as well. Although he is a robot and he just seems to keep on going. It's just got to be rested. There's no need to keep making the case. This is what we're doing. We're in a semi-final, European semi-final.
Yeah, similar-ish to you. I've gone 4-3-3. Downs, Lanzini, and Fornals in midfield for me. It's not how I'd like to see us line up in the middle, but I'm just picking players that aren't going to start against Alkmaar. That's literally how I picked this team. You can probably guess that. I've gone, who's going to start against Alkmaar? They're 11. Who's left? Let's get them into the team. Let's try and work out the best possible formation of playing with the players that's left over, so we do not have to touch that lot. And your front two?
Mubama and Ings, as I'm sure you guessed. Yeah, but it'd be nice to be nice. Well, lovely for both of them actually, but nice for Ings to have a partner on there and be able to play in a system that suits him, and just be brilliant for Mubama to start a Premier League game. What a reward! That would be a proper reward for a really good season, and sticking with the club after Perkins left and just scoring as many goals. He had loads. I've lost count, honestly. Loads and loads of goals. He's represented numerous age groups. He's played in the first team. Obviously, scored a goal. Was unlucky to have another goal chalked off as an own goal, wasn't he? That would be a hell of a reward. A massive day out for him and his family and his friends, and with notice as well. Not I don't want a little cheeky surprise one told this week, so he can tell his family. So Auntie can come over from Ireland, and his cousin can come down from Newcastle. I don't know, wherever his family is spread out, but they can just come up, and his mates can whatever. Can I have 20 tickets from his mates, and his mates we went to school with, and I just give him a what's it? Oh no, we don't have. No, we can't. It's not our ground.
It's like a Mubama testimonial, this.
Yeah, no. I was going to say give him a corporate box, but you probably can't because it's not our ground. But no, I would, because I think that'd be a proper reward that you just remember for the rest of your life, really. So that's what I'd like to see it happen. Yeah, not often you get time to be sentimental in football.
Same as this, Coney, Ings, and Mubama is a front three for me. I appreciate I'm now putting Ings isolated, but
you don't care.
I don't care. Also, Mubama's good. Mubama's good at playing that wide position. We see it with under 18s. I haven't watched enough under 21s to comment when he plays for them. But for under 18s, he's very flexible. Yes, he starts as the man in the middle. But if anyone, whether it be Kadua, Marshall, or Verth, he's been a little bit lazy. He gets out and he puts the Grafton out wide as well. He doesn't mind dropping out wide. And I quite like it. It's a bit like an apprentice for him, which is that you've served your start, but you're not quite the main man yet. Danny Ings is the main man, but you're playing on the wing, but put a shift in. You're one step closer to having a chance up front for us. So yeah, I completely agree with your reasons. Put him in. He's probably buzzing with confidence at the minute. And this is it would become quite an important game for different reasons. Is the points important? Well, they'd be nice. They're not crucial, but they'd be nice. But Could you imagine Mubama scores?
Oh,
Suddenly, we're away to Alkmaar. We're 1-0 down, 10 minutes to go. Suddenly, Mubama is actually a good option off the bench. Actually, I can put him on because he scored against Brentford on Sunday. Come on, son, get your shirt on. You're going on. Is your grandma from Ireland in the crowd?
yeah, absolutely. and a lot from Newcastle, don't forget.
Yeah, she's lobbing her clogs about.
Cousin from Guernsey. They're all over.
Yeah, they're all over, are they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Mubama's
the Scottish Mubama clan come down in their kilts and sporrans, all the stuff. They go watch that lot.
Anyway.
Rowdy the Scots.
Anyway, yes, Mubama's a must. What do you think he will do, though? I will be honest with you, Gonzo. I'm worried. I'm really worried. I don't think he's going to rotate like we're wanting.
No, neither do I. Yeah, I can't get to it because otherwise I'm getting annoyed about something that I've imagined and hasn't actually happened yet. So let me temper my annoyance slightly. I think we'll see 5 first-team players in there. I think he might do something like that. And that would still be progress for Moyes, and I would accept that. It's the composition of that team which would trouble me. It's really important that the players that I said are rested. If he is gonna only do 5, then 4 of those 5 needs to be those players.
So Zuma, Rice, Suchek,
Antonio,
Paqueta, Antonio, and Bowen.
But actually, you're chucking Paqueta in there. I the ones that look most knackered, I thought were Bowen, Paqueta, Rice, and Antonio. All right, I really thought they were most knackered. Did I think Zuma looked knackered? No, Zuma was magnificent, but he's always just about to break. So that as well. I just think you'd be mad. They're such big players, those players, and I don't know. I'll keep saying that. I'm not sure it happens. Let them go away. Let them go to Canvey for the weekend or something. You know what I mean? Go take their buckets and spades or something. Do you know what I mean? Just give them the weekend off. I really would.
Listening to his press conference makes me worried. He basically said that we just still need another win in order to stay up, which I disagree with. I mean, mathematically, yes, but that's only if the other teams win all their games kind of thing. So, and he was talking about Antonio's fit for Sunday, and I thought, oh, no, please do not play him. I hope Moyes is bragging a little bit here to try and make on to Brentford. We're going to full strength. And I think I agree with you. I think he will do 5 or 6 changes. And you'll still field what is a relative. It's probably what I would call the Conference League group stage team. He'd field one of those ones where plenty of changes, but strong enough. But the problem with that is I think he almost puts pressure on himself to get something from the game. I think if you're going to play, say Zuma, Suchek, and Antonio gets an hour and Bowen gets an hour, suddenly you say, well, you've got to get at least a draw here then in order to justify including those players. Whereas if you rotate completely, I think everybody will be expecting a loss, but accepting a loss because of the greater good, which is they're rested up ahead of the Alkmaar game. But I think if you start doing a half-hearted team, I think that's the most dangerous thing you can do, though, because you're probably going to get beat and the players aren't rested. I think you're better off fully resting or almost going full strength to some extent and trying to get that bloody points and keep momentum going. I'm nervous. I'm going to be nervous for that team coming out, actually. But we'll wait and see. But like you said, I guess it's who he rests as well, which is the most important thing.
Well, it's important he speaks to his mate Fergie because he's a horse racing man, and he would tell him that this that sport is littered with horses that are fallen. I used to quote it all the time, Fergie. The horses that have fallen at the final hurdle. It was always tell a horse. In fact, I think Devon Locke was his favourite.
I just love how you said Moyes needs to speak to, in my opinion, the greatest ever manager about horses. Not about rotating his team.
He needs to. He loves horses and red wine, Fergie. Right, but he needs to speak to him because I think Fergie would tell him, you do that. There's no spin afterwards. If he plays those players and we look knackered in the second leg and we go out, there is no defence. There's no hiding place by saying, oh, but we still need another point in the Premier League. Actually, we bloody didn't. So we still had Leeds and we still had Leicester to come. I keep saying they need 9 points, but they need 8, but you can't get 8. So they need 3 wins. 7 won't do it, all right? That's what they need. They need 3 wins. We are totally in control of it, and they're highly unlikely. They both play Newcastle. I think one of them plays Man City and Newcastle.
The good thing is, Leeds especially play Saturday. So actually, if they lose before we play, then technically it's like, well, you do not need to play anyone. Look, they cannot catch you now. They're done. The Leeds are out of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So there will be no defence there. Nobody will. He will be, honestly, he will be in an echo chamber with only himself in there. He'll be speaking to himself. Nobody will believe it. And I would hope that the journalists, any journalists worth their salt, would be saying that's just not true, Mr. Moyes. That is not true at all. So this is really important, actually. That I would certainly with him, even if he doesn't speak to Fergie, take some counsel, speak to your coaches, speak to people.
Speak to your players. Antonio was on the podcast saying he's tired.
Yeah, it's really important, and we do not care. We do not care. I'm telling you, the away fans will be up there at a Brentford game. They won't care. They honestly, if he rests, they will not mind. They will. And he plays 3 or 4 youngsters. The away fans will cheer the youngsters. They'll be singing songs. It will be fine.
They'll be singing songs about European football as well. That's the thing. They'll be singing songs about going to bragging about how we're ready to win and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Are you confident?
Well, for Brentford?
Yeah.
No. I haven't got a clue what's going to happen. No, not at all.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
1 being not at all and 10 being a lot. How much do you care about this game?
2?
I'm about 3. Care a little bit. I don't want to get embarrassed, but if you offered me a fully rotated 11 in a 2-0 loss right now, I'd take it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would, because
yes, with no injuries and then everyone's fit. Yeah, I'll be Yeah, it's hard not to focus on Europe. How can you not? And hopefully we blew enough smoke up Brentford's what's it at the start of the video. But we're not being disrespectful now. We got to, it's just got a more important game. Coming up. It's as simple as that, really.
I'm not confident. I think first of all, by the way, even if we put out our first 11, I wouldn't be confident. Brentford are bloody good, and Brentford at home are bloody good. So it's not like we're away to play a team that's just like really beatable or that. We could play the 11 we did against Alkmaar and probably still lose on Sunday. I would still predict Brentford to beat us. The scoreline would just be a bit closer. That's all. So I'm not confident, but at the same time, like I said, I'm more nervous about the starting 11 and players being rested than I am about the outcome of the game. And during that 90 minutes on Sunday, I am almost going to be looking through my fingers at players that are going to be involved on Thursday night, thinking, please, nobody clatter this one. But Antonio's up front. I'm almost going to see him running around. I'm going to be like, please stop running about. Just do the bare minimum and get subbed off. Please, please, please. It's all about Thursday night for me. Any final words from yourself, Gonzo, in your score prediction, please?
Actually, it's really important point you've made there. Just do the bare minimum and get subbed off. And this is the really important thing about David Moyes. It's really important that you understand that these players, there's a number of them that are not playing for the shirt. The shirt is theirs irrespective of how badly or well they play. So actually, you can protect yourself. You can do that if you're Antonio. There's no way he's going to have to worry about it. He's not going to pick Mubama. He's not going to pick Ings up front. He's not going to draft Cornet in to play as a striker. You just look after you. You look after yourself. And it's the same for all them. But it's the same for Bowen. Don't worry about it. You have to. There's not. It doesn't matter how you perform in training under Moyes. Once you have the shirt and you have his trust, that's what you have. So I do think that's really important. If they are there, that they do. No one's going. Honestly, no one's. You might get the odd rogue comment on Twitter, but by and large, all the fans will completely understand.
I think all the fans will understand, even if they don't agree with it. Even if they think we should field our strongest 11, try and get the win, make sure we're 100% safe, get momentum, go to the Netherlands with that win behind us. I think even if you were fixated on that, I think even those fans will understand why David Moyes is rotating. You have to. I struggle to see why you wouldn't understand why Moyes would rotate for this one. I think there's more fans who would understand why he's rotating than there is fans that understand why he's not rotating, if that makes sense. That was a bit of a tongue twister. I think I got that one.
You were right. Very well said.
Thank you. Right, we'll leave it there. What's your score prediction, please? That's how insignificant it is.
Yeah,
I'm not even making one.
2-1. No. Oh, I think we might have an Archbishop Desmond on our hands, my friend.
What, you reckon we're going to draw with like a bit of a rotated side?
I know something we play a rotated side, so I'm going for a 2-2.
I'm going to say 2-0 Brentford. I think we'll rotate a bit in. Yeah, I think it'll be easy enough for Brentford on Sunday. Plus, we didn't even play that well against Alkmaar, just that they were poor. Anyway, we will leave it there. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It'll be genuinely interesting to see what you guys think on this one. The 11 you've put out, who needs to be rested, etc., etc. Get in the comments below. But if you enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat. And if you fancy getting yourself a Julian Dick signed book, signed shirt, or signed print, links in description, head over there. Get it pre-ordered. You've got about 3 weeks to get it ordered, and then in the middle of June we'll get everything signed by Julian. We'll get it posted out to you. Anyway, Gonzo, I'll catch up with you on Sunday.
Look forward to it.
Cheers.